This tutorial is about Python project, that is ToDo app. So I have created one project folder as Python projects, and I have created one subfolder here for ToDo app. And inside this ToDo app, I have created two again subfolders. One is for data, where we will be saving our data, and inside the to-do we will be creating a project files, right? And once we will be adding or updating or deleting tasks, that will be updated as the data in the data folder, right? Then here there are two more files as readme and requirements file. So a readme is an md file and requirements is a text file. So these two files I have created, and this specified folder structure is the industry standard folder structure. So let's just open it in your Visual Studio Code. Why Visual Studio Code? Because this is easy to use, and it has many shortcuts if you install the Python extension in it, and you will be able to clearly see the folders around it if you open this project folder as ToDo app, right? So I have already opened my VS Code, and I have opened this ToDo app folder, right? This ToDo app folder, right? So you have to open it, and before starting your work, maybe you have to go to your extensions and install the Python extension, right? So this is the requirement here. So if you see these extensions here, these are pre-installed extensions for me that I installed earlier maybe. So this is Python one, this is Azure one, this is for testing, and this is Thunder client, and there are many more. And I have to update my Visual Studio Code to the latest release. So that may be released on 17th July latest, and today is 18th July, right? So that's not the very basic or very old version I have. So I am not much worried about it. So let's get started with the coding part. So first of all, I will tell you what our project structure. Inside projects, just what is our requirements file. So requirement file is basically what you are all using inside the specified project. So what all libraries you have installed, what are the extra installations you require, that, and what are the packages you have using. So that come under requirement file. So here we are using Python standard libraries as data classes, JSON and Tinker. These are standard libraries we are using, and we are not using any third party packages, right? So no third party packages required. Everything here uses Python standard library, data classes, JSON and Tinker. So this is what I have mentioned in this requirement.txt, right? And if you are using any extra installation, pip install something library you are using, then that we would need to mention in the requirements.txt file. So here we are not using that, so we haven't mentioned it. Now inside readme.md file, we used to probably write the structure of the project which we are gonna use here. So we have this to-do list app with the help of Tinder GUI, which I have mentioned here, and this is a small to-do list app in which we have few layers, which are data model, where we will be building the data model. Then we have a JSON persistent layer, which will basically uh, maybe query the tasks or to-do list tasks you will be adding. So that will be queryable with with the help of the front end, which we have mentioned as interchangeable front end, a GUI, Tinker GUI, right? And this will sit on the top of manager, which will manage all these layers, right? So there are four basic layers we have. Now we will be having some project structure here. So inside this project structure, we have the main folder as to-do app, right? Which we have connected here. Inside this to-do app, one file will be there as main GUI file, which will be the entry point, and using this file we will be running the Tinker version, right? And then we have one folder as to-do. If you have are seeing here, this to folder will have init.py, that is the file which will be called when we will be running this main.gui file, right? This will be the entry point and it will call init. Init means like this is the main or point which will be called by main GUI file. The models.py, that will be the data class we will be creating, and inside this data class we will be doing something to dictionary and from dictionary methodologies which will be used in while querying or storing the data in JSON format. Right, in storage.py we will be having JSON storage we will be working on, that will load the data or save the data to the JSON or load the data from the JSON to UI. And uh, data means data or tasks, right? That will be in the JSON. So inside the data folder we will be having task.json file present, right? In the manager.py, that will be the to do manager, and it will be adding the list or toggle delete or edit the list, right? Or the task we will be adding, that will be the functionality of manager or to do manager. Right, now GUI.py, that will be the tinter window, the GUI we will be working on. So this will be the back end stuff and this will be the front end stuff. And inside data, as I told you, we will be saving a task or JSON, and it will be created at runtime. We will not be creating it manually, it will be created at the runtime. Runtime means when we will be adding our first task for the first time, this file will be created and we will be doing it, we will be creating it because it will be because we want to save our tasks when this application is closed, otherwise we will lost it. Now how to run it, as I told you, main.gui is the main file or the entry point, so we will be running it, right? So the GUI version will be running with the help of this command python main underscore gui.py. What is this command? We will be executing this command in the command prompt. I will show you once our project is done. Then no installation is required, as I told you earlier. In the Windows application, Windows OS you are using, if you are using some other OS, then and Tinker is not already installed by default, then you have to install it. And as I told you, a task is saved to data task.json file after every add, edit, toggle or delete, so that they survive closing and reopening the app. So this is all the folder structure and what we are gonna do now. We will be starting creating our project. Now we are into the to-do list, to-do folder. Here, I will be creating one file. In this file will be the firstly we will be creating our models.py file. That is the data class. So that will be models.py. Py is the extension of Python, right? So firstly, I will be adding some comments here for what we are using this file. So we are creating some data class into this file that will give us init, this one, and EQ, and makes everything converting to or from a plain dictionary, what JSON needs, trivial, right? So let me just do one thing inside you. Let me do world wrap so that it will be wrapped down. So this is what we have to do in our models.py file. So first of all, as I told you, that will be we will be having one data class here, and inside that data class we will be having more classes or functions. So classes we are making means we will be using here the oops concept, classes and objects we are gonna make here. So from firstly we will be starting with importing our required libraries or modules. So firstly we will be importing data classes as tick and field, right? Then from date time we will be importing date time itself, right? Then we will be creating the data class, and we have one class as task. Inside this class we will be creating few fields that will be required in our GUI, right? Int, then we have title as string, then we have description for str is equals to that will I will be keeping blank. Then priority, what is the priority of the task, so that task may be will be string. And what is the priority here, I am keeping medium as default, and the priority could be low, or it could be medium, and it could be high priority, right? Then we will be marking is it done or not done, so that will be boolean. And by default it will be false, because if we are creating one task, then definitely we will be creating the task which is not done, so initially that will be false. Then what time and when we created that task, so we will be having one attribute for that, that is created at a string, and we will be changing it. And for that we have something default as maybe default factory as lambda. Do you know about lambda function? So if you know it, then just that's good, well and good, and comment it down if you know it, so that if someone don't know, that would be helpful for him or her. So I am just changing here the date time in now format and in the ISO format, with the help of namespace and seconds, right? That will be there. Then I am creating one function. We used to create one function in Python with the help of def def, and to convert any object to dictionary we have two dictionary. I am using the function name self, and I am creating dictionary here. And what will it do? It will be converting the task into a plain dictionary, so it can be JSON serialized, because we are gonna save all the tasks in JSON format, right? Now I have to return something here. Now some other function we have to create with the help of some class method. And with this class method here, one function is def. We have created already two dictionary, now we have to create from dictionary function, and it will be having something in it. And here the meaning of this function, or the work of this function will be, it will be rebuilding a task from a dictionary that was loaded out of JSON, right? This will be the a task of this from dictionary function, right? and it will be returning something to us. And what it will return, as we are sending CLS here as a parameter, so it has to return the CLS only. Return CLS, and what we are sending inside it, we have to send all these things which we were displaying here, right? Then ID will be data ID. Similarly, we will pass all the attributes here. I forgot to add this one. Is equals to data. Description, we passed it as empty string, so we will be creating it as this way. Then we created priority, so one will be the priority thing. Priority we have to get here also, we will be passing this way. Now we have one more function as toggle. So this is what I told you earlier, that we will be performing these activities, and this toggle is passing none as of now. And this toggle, what does it do? It Any toggle button will flip the tasks as done or not done, right? And we are creating it as not dot not self dot done. One more function will be there for status, and we have to return the status here. Return F. Then we have to pass the status as uh, we will be passing the arguments here, self.id, then self.priority. Everything we will be passing as the this is post here. It will be coming out like this, right? So this is our model file. Now from this model file, we will be calling our functions and methods to more files. Storage, right? Storage.py. So in this Python file, we will be including the classes and functions from models.py, right? So that's the reason we created this models.py file for the first. Now in the storage file, I am gonna create something. Firstly, I will be creating one comment to add what it is given, what we are doing here. So we this is a persistent layer that I told you, right? And this will include uh, every detail of how tasks are saved to the JSON file, saved and lives in this one file. Swap this class out later. We can swap this out class out later with some kind of SQLite or some database version. For example, SQLite storage. Let me just word wrap it, and if we do this, then we don't have to change it anything, right? That's the reason we are creating separate storage file, because manager.py only ever calls dot load and dot save, right? So this is the reason this persistent layer or the storage file is separate. So if in future any software developer or project owner or developer has to change the storage medium or the database, so he or she will have to just change it at one place, not at all touching the main project file, right? So this is the reason this kind of project structure is the standard. Now we are storing the data in a JSON file, so we will be importing JSON. Then we will be having import JSON. Then from path library, we will be importing path, right? Then from typing, we will be importing list, right? And as I told you, from models, we will be requiring this file. So same way, we will be importing the files from models. So how do we create that path? We will be go back from this file. Then from models, we will have to import task. And what was task there? Task was this class. So we are calling this class here in the storage file. So that's the reason we created this first. Now here we will be creating one class for JSON storage. Here what this class will do, this will, as I told you earlier, this will read or write a list of tasks. Tasks are in the form of objects, so task objects to a JSON file on the click of GUI, right? Now here we will be having some classes. So firstly we have init class. In init we are gonna pass self. Then we will be having file path, and that file path will be str is equals to data. Yes. data slash tasks dot json. So this will be the path, and self dot, we will be calling everything. One thing to make sure is this comment I'm adding you for the safe side of the um, ones who are watching this video and creating this project. So you have to make sure that the parent folder of data is already existing, right? And or you have already created this. And here we have to make directory as parents, like it is already present. Parents here means data folder is already present, and you have to make the file here. Right, now second function we will be creating. So we have to load this file, so we will be creating one load function, and it will be in the form of list of tasks. What does this function do? Load tasks from disk, returns empty if the file is missing, or empty if uh, if this file is not present, then it should return nothing, empty string. Now we will be try the more functionality with some error handling using try except. So we will try something. Open this file, and this will be in the read format, and it should be encoded with UTF-8, and it should open as F variable. Then we have to store this JSON load somewhere. Then if the reading of this file fails, then what it should show? It should show some exception, that JSON decoder error, and it should show OS error. So this should be the exception. And when it will happen, when we will be having corrupt or unreadable file. That means if this happens, then file save, and it should return empty. And then this function will return something. This will return task dot from dictionary that we created in the last file, right? So this will be returned. Now this we have done for loading. Now if we have to save our files, then we will be having save function, and just for saving what we have created in the tasks, so that all will be in the form of list. And this file will be saved with this particular logic. And here, while saving, we have to open it in the right format. Write means WRIT, right format. We have to write it, and it should be encoded again in UTF-8 as F. Now this should be, we have one function as dump to save the data in JSON format or in JSON file, right? And we have passed some indent. So this is how we will be reading the file, data from the file, and saving the data from the file. In further not tutorial, but in further files or in further code, you will see how these uh, loading and saving will be used. Now we will build our business logic layer, that is the manager.py. So I am creating one new file here, naming it as manager.py. And this manager.py, as I told you, is a business logic layer. We will be writing our to-do manager logic. And here I am writing the comment first, and this comment will tell you what this file is about. So this is business logic layer, and this to do manager is the single object that the GUI talk to. Neither interface touches the JSON file or the task class directly. Sorry for the typo here. Let's update it to the file directly, and then they just call the methods here from model and storage, and that's what make it possible to build the GUI on the top without rewriting everything, right? So that means from the models and storage we will be covering here whatever we have built. So we will be calling those methods or functions here, uh, the classes here. So firstly we will be importing something. So we will be importing type. From typing we will be importing list and optional, right? And from other files, so from not the manager but models, import task. From storage, import JSON storage. right? And here we will be creating our class as ToDo manager, and in this class we will be just doing the functionality for our GUI, right? So firstly, the init, that maybe comes as the main method, not the main, but the initially it will be called storage as optional, JSON storage is equals to none, and instead of pass we have self dot storage is equals to storage or JSON storage function, then self dot tasks list of the tasks we will be covering here as self dot storage dot load, right? Now we have next id as self, that will be int, and we have to return max of t dot id for t in self dot tasks, comma default is equals to 0 and plus 1. So this is how the task id will be generated. Then we have to add the tasks, right? So to add the task we are creating the function, we will be having title, we will be having description, the fields we created last time, then we will be having priority, by default we gave the priority value as medium, and this implies to our task. And inside this function we will do something, task is equals to self dot, this id is generated with next id, then title will be the title, description will be the description value, and priority will be the priority value. Then we have to append this task, right? We don't want to overwrite it, we want to append it inside the task list, and we will save it, and we will return the task. Now we have next function is list, to show the particular task as done or not done, right? So to make it mark as done, that means true, we will it call this particular logic, if show done, then return list s- self dot tasks. Otherwise it should return something else. T for T in self dot tasks if not done. Right, now we have another function as get. So inside this function we are gonna perform some optional task. So dev get self, then task id we are gonna pass as int, and this is the optional task, and it will return next of tasks if t dot id is equals to task id comma none. Then we will toggle. So to for it we will be having some task id. So task id behaves as the primary key here. This way, and if task is none then return false, right? And self dot tasks dot remove task, and we have to save it and return true. Then we have one functionality to delete the task. Then everything we will be performing with task id, that would be the unique always. If task is none return false, and one functionality we will be having to edit the task. To edit it we have this function task id as int, and all other fields we will be having, right? And again boolean. So this will be basically to update whichever fields are passed in, right? We will be adding it. For example, uh, we have to edit any of the field like title, we can edit it with this help of this particular function. So this particular function will be called in case of edit. So here key and value will be coming up, because whatever the field we want to edit, that field will be the key, and what value we are adding will be coming as value. So that's the reason we are going with fields, items, and key and value here. If value is not none and has attribute, then the task will be having key and we have to pass it. It's not none. And set attribute as task, key, and value. And then we will have to save it. Then we will have to call the save function. From the from the start we are just calling the save function here, but we haven't called it yet, right? So at the last we will be calling the save function, right? So the save will be this save. Self dot storage dot save in tasks, right? So this is how the manager uh, file works, and this is the business logic here. Why? Because we have in defined init here, we have defined the id, right? Task id, which will be unique, and when we add the new id to the GUI, it will always add the previous id plus once. So, so we have added next as add new task, then we have some list that will be present, right? So when we have to finish that task or show as done, what will happen? So this will be the toggle, and this will get the tasks id. This is delete. If we have to delete the task, then we can edit it and we can save the tasks, right? Now nextly we will just create the GUI for this. So we have built the functionality. This functionality will be called in the GUI.
This function will include the list of tasks. So firstly, I am gonna define one column with few column headers as ID, then title of the task, right? Then another column will be priority and whether it is done or not. Now self dot tree is equals to ttk dot, we will be using tree view here, self, then columns is equals to columns, then we have to show headings, select mode will be browse. In the tree mode we will be having few of the things like heading, and every heading we will be defining with some text. Next heading we have is title, and the text is title. Next heading is priority. After the headings we will be defining columns. Right, so I, for the shortcut, I will be copy and paste this line and will change the column name. Title width is 270 for the title, let's say, and let me remove the anchor from here. Let's just copy and paste it again. Here we will be having priority. Also we can change the width maybe 80, and okay, we can have the anchor as well. Fourth is done. Width maybe 60. Then we will have to set the priority among the three values from the drop down, so we will apply some logic for it. Priority, and everything, every uh, value will have a specified color, so priorities color. And the foreground color will be color as we have defined in this variable. Uh, Not here. Okay. Color here. Yes. Now self dot we will be packing this tree. Expand will be true and we will apply some padding. Now another function, this one, build action buttons. Self, here there is a small logic. Frame is equals to we will be creating separate frame for this dot frame, and inside this frame we will be packing these buttons. And this frame will be packed in X position. Now defining buttons. So we will be having three buttons here. Toggle done. Then this will command to self dot toggle task that we will be defining, and let's pack it to left side. Next button will be delete button to delete any task. The action for this will be delete task. Same way we will be defining this function, and let's pack it to third button will be refresh. Right, so the framing is done here. Now this refresh is called here as well, and we have called it here as well. Now we will be defining the actions. Right, so firstly let's define refresh function. Self dot tree dot delete, and we will be get the children here again for task in self dot manager dot list done label is equals to yes if task dot done else. Now we will be inserting something dot insert comma and iid is equals to str task dot id comma, then we will be having some values task dot id task dot title, then task dot priority, and then done label. These are the values, and we would be having some tags task dot priority, right? This ends with the refresh function. Then second function we have is to add the task, add task, right? Firstly, title will be self dot title, title entry say we will be getting it dot strip, then if not title, if we don't get the title, then we should get the message box dot show warning that we miss the title, missing title, comma, please enter a task title, right? Then it should return else we have some description is equals to self dot description entry dot get dot strip priority is equals to self dot priority where dot get, then self dot manager dot add title description priority, right? And self dot title entry dot delete 0 and also self dot, so using this we are just deleting the entries from the fields that user has entered and we have refreshed it. Now one more task is done. Second task is to select task id. Using diff selected task id self selection is equals to self dot tree dot selection. If not selection, so that means we have to select it. If we don't have made any selection, that message box dot show info that no selection as the title, and select a task first, return none, and return and selection 0. Now we have another function as toggle task. Toggle task, so that will come with task id, and this task id is indicating to self dot underscore selected task id, and if task id is not none, then self dot manager dot delete task id, and self dot refresh. Right, now the last one is to uh, okay, let me just try to update it. Inside we have to make delete task as well, delete task, which will indicate to self, and inside it we will be having this task id as same. Then if task is not null, yeah, this will coming over here, and here we will not define delete, we will be defining here toggle. Right, so this is the update I have made. Now we have done with all the things. Now one function I have to make as run function, right? So to run this, we will outside this class I am making one function as run, and it will call the ToDo app class, right? This class it will call, and as you know that this whole GUI works with main loop, right? Main loop here, and then I will be calling here the main method name as main, right? is equal is equals to right, and call run method here. So this way we have defined our main method. Now this GUI will be called somewhere, right? So here in this GUI what we have done, we have firstly import the tinker, we have made some classes, we have built the form. Firstly we import in the first initial task, we have built all geometry, we have called the classes, and in these classes we have built the form. Then task list we have created, then we have built the buttons, then we have called the actions of these buttons, right? These three functions. Now we have packed this complete ToDo class into one main loop, right, inside a function called run, and this complete thing will be running here. All right. Now outside this to do app, so as I told you here, there will be, so one thing to be done inside this to do is, inside this to do we will be calling one init file, right, this init file that will pack all these functions. So that will be init dot py, and inside this we will be calling uh, all our files we have made. Just like from models we are importing task, then from storage we are importing JSON storage, from manager we are importing to do manager, and we will pack it all here in the list. Task JSON storage to do manager. So this what it will do in every project, in any folder. So this init file is the initial file that packs everything. So here we have done the same. So this will call, uh, here the GUI will call all those files, and these files will be linked here once we run this, and this GUI file will be called inside here. So inside to do app, we I am creating one more file. It is going to here requirement. Yep. Now here I will be creating one more file naming as main gui.py, and this is the entry point as we discussed earlier. So I am just entering the comment here for the same entry point. Run the Tincter GUI version of this app, how to use it. In the command prompt we have to use python main gui.py, and one thing, inside the GUI app we call the main method, and that main method will be called using this main GUI. Now uh, from todo folder dot GUI import run is the function that we created, and if name is equals to main run. So this completes our to do app. Let's try to execute it. Before executing or running our code, let's verify everything whether they are fine or not. So next ID is fine, init is fine, add is fine, list is also looks good, toggle, yes, here I have made this change. Initially here we have written this remove statement, but here instead of remove we have to make a function, we have to call it the toggle function here. So it will let's update it, then delete, edit and save are same. right? Let's go to models file. In the models file, this is the update, right? So there will be two different columns here for priority and done. So here give the priority as medium and done as get done and false. So this one is a second thing. Then go to storage. In the storage file, no updates, right? In the manager file, we are done. In the GUI file, here first thing you have to do, you have to use these brackets instead, right? Now scroll down a bit. After scrolling, you will see inside refresh is fine, add task is fine. In selected task, just verify whether you have worked it correctly or not. Inside the toggle task, here you don't have to mention tree, but here this is the tree view, right? Inside delete task, this will be delete, and inside toggle task, this will be the toggle, right? So this you need to verify once. Now for init, all good. Now let's try to execute it. I will go to my uh, Python project folder, right? Let me refresh it once. Let's open command prompt, open in terminal option, right? How I have opened it, right click over here anywhere and click on open in terminal. Type one command, Python, your main file name is main underscore gui dot py, right? Press enter. Your GUI window will open up, right? So this is your GUI window. Let's add one task. Title will be learn Power BI, right? Learn Power BI with Progademy YouTube channel, right? Let's make it the very high priority and add task, right? Now let's toggle it to done, right? It's done now, right? Refresh will refresh the list here, and if you click here and click on delete, it will delete the task. Now let's create one more build. Maybe let's learn SQL with Progademy YouTube channel. Priority may be medium. Add task. Color has been changed. Toggle is done, right? We have already seen delete. Now let's see the color for low. Now um, maybe chat with friends. This time I am not giving any description. Let's make it low priority. Add task. It has been added with low priority and no description has been added, right? And let's delete it. So when we give something like work work and add task, work is not added in the title. Okay, so description we have not mentioned here, right? But how this description is mentioned, let's verify that once. Let's go to VS Code, right? So inside the tasks, you will see description is coming up over here, right? Created it is coming, done is coming, every statement is coming over here, and ID is like this. And here if you see py cache is also coming. So this is how our project is working. Let's come back in the next projects, and happy learning. Continue watching the videos.